Welcome back, friends. In the last couple of series of Java programming, we were discussing about operators in Java, right? In those series, we have completed few operators like arithmetic operator. We have discussed about unary and binary operator in arithmetic operators. Then we were discussing about operators called as relational operators, and in relational operators, we have thoroughly discussed all the relational operators provided by Java. Then after we have discussed about equality operator. In between we have also discussed about concatenation operator, and clearly we have discussed about equality operator. In equality operator we have also differentiated between comparison operator or equality operator followed by equals method. Make sure you know all these concepts, otherwise the next topic will not be that much of interesting, right? In case you don't know this concept, I'll definitely suggest all of you please go back and see all those videos which are there as data type 1 2 and 1 and 2. Please go through all those data type concept, then come back here, we can enjoy the session, right? Now without wasting time, let us go for the next one. The next operator in this series, this is a very vital and most dangerous operator in Java, not in Java but in every programming language. And this particular operator definitely going to help me in lot of ways in my programming, right? So Java provides me three different logical operators. Now we will look at each of these operator, how these operators going to be operated, and what they will return to us, so that we can use this particular one in a programming requirement. Before going to anything, you can ask me, definitely there will be a doubt, sir, can you please tell us why logical operators are required, right? Okay, the answer to this question is there are some time. Suppose using relational operator, what we were doing, we were calculating something like this. I am calculating whether A is greater than B or not, whether A is greater than C or not. Suppose there is a requirement to check whether A is greater than B as well as A is greater than C. So in that case, what I need to do, we need to combine these all of these together to check whether both these conditions are true. If both these conditions are true and I want a result completely true, that might be one requirement, right? Okay, so for lot of requirements are in the programming world, I have to use different logical operators. The major role of a logical operator is to combine more than one relational operators together. You know, in Java, what I cannot do, I cannot write like this. This is invalid. This is completely invalid, right? But if I want to achieve this, I have lot of options. I can write like this, or I may be write like this. Then I can combine with the help of AND or with the help of OR as per our requirement. So this can be used as these two can be used to combine different conditions together, which are represented with the help of relational operators. Clear? Now let us understand how these operators are basically operated. See, in logical operator we have named three different operators. One is logical AND, one is logical OR, and one is NOT or negation operator, right? Now logical AND and logical OR, both these operators are binary logical operator. Why they are binary? Because these two operators require two operands for their operation, right? Remember, suppose if I want to use a logical AND, how do I operate? This is operand 1. I am writing operand RND operand 1, then logical AND, then operand 2. This is how I can use this logical AND. Remember, few things you have to be very sure about this particular operator when you are operating on this. This is the only way through which I can operate logical AND operator, right? Now listen very carefully. Operand 1 and operand 2, both these operand, there is a limitation. Both these operand cannot be anything except Boolean. Remember this point. if you compare this one with relational operator, in relational operators, the operand could be anything except Boolean. But here I am saying the operand could not be anything except Boolean. In the relational operator, Booleans are not allowed. But in logical and or logical or operator, the operand has to be Boolean. Keep this in mind. Keep this particular thing in mind. So first point you can write here, both the operands should be of Boolean type. This is mandate. It cannot be any other type. By mistake, if I am writing any other type, immediately your compiler will say, boss, what are you doing? I don't know how to operate this AND operator using any other data type except Boolean. So can you please cross check what you have written? Completely compiler error will be there. Don't worry, we'll cross check that one also. Don't worry. First point. Second point, the output of logical AND operator is always, remember, is always a Boolean. It cannot produce anything. Either it can produce true or it can produce one among these two values, not any other value, even at any condition, right? Number 3, third point. Let's go back to the third point. Now, third point, to understand the third point, we need to go for a chart, or we can say if both the operands, remember, if both the operands are true, then logical AND will return true. Otherwise that will return false. Else false. Remember this point. Remember this one. If both of the operand, if the first one will be true, second one will be true, the output will be true. If any of the operand will be false, immediately the output will be false, right? Remember this point. This is for logical AND operator. I repeat, logical AND operator require two operand. Both the operands should be Boolean, and it will take the operand as Boolean, and the output of this particular operator is also Boolean, right? Remember this point. It cannot take anything except Boolean, right? So if I draw a chart like this, suppose this is operand 1, the second one is operand 2, and if I operate both of them using AND, what will happen? Suppose the first operand is true, second one is true. As per the discussion, definitely it is going to produce true. Similarly, if the first one is true, second one is false, this is false. If the first one is false, second one is true, this is false. If both are false, no problem at all, false. Now, you can see a difference here. You can see a difference here. When the first one is true, the second operand has to be evaluated, because we have to check the second one will be true or not, right? If that is true, then the thing will be true. Similarly, in this case, the first one is true, so the second one need to be checked. If the second one will be false, then I say this is false. But in the next case, look at this one very carefully. Suppose the first one is false. The first one is false. Now, the second one, either this could be false or this could be true. Either this could be true or this could be false. Even if this is true or even if this is false, if the first one will be false, if the first operand evaluates to be false, doesn't matter what the second operand will be, 100% sure the result is going to be false. So why I am telling this, there is a reason. We'll discuss that one very shortly. Don't worry. You just keep all these things in mind. Now, do you really think, suppose what I have evaluated, the first operand is evaluated to be true. Now, there might be chance the second operand could be true or could be false. So accordingly, the result will be decided, right? But whenever the operand is false, first one is false, do you really think the second operand need to be checked? I repeat, if the first operand is false, do you really think the second one need to be checked? Doesn't matter the second one is true or false. If the first one is false, immediately logical AND will evaluate it to false. So what I mean to say is operand 2 or the evaluation of operand 2 is not mandate. Remember this point. Remember this point. You can write that one here. Operand 2 is not evaluated if the first operand is false. This is valid only for logical AND operator. Remember this point. This is very vital point. Operand 2 or the execution of operand 2 is not mandate. If operand 1 is false, operand 2 will never be evaluated. We'll look into this example. Don't worry, just in a few seconds from now. Right? Okay. Now let us go and cross check what is happening here. Right? How all these things will be operated. We'll just cross check. Right? Suppose the value of A is 10, value of B is 20, value of C is 30, 40, whatever. Now I'm writing, listen very carefully. I'm writing if A is greater than B and A is greater than C, then something need to be happen. Something need to be happen. Right? Now let us cross check. What is the value of what is the value of first one? A greater than B. It is false or not? It is false. What is the value of the second one? A greater than C. Again, this is false. So if the first one will be false, second one will not be evaluated. Definitely you will ask me, sir, where is the proof? Let us go for the proof. Let us go for the proof. Suppose I am writing here. Can you please tell me if I am writing A plus plus less than, remember this point, A plus plus less than B and A plus plus less than C. Can you tell me what will be the value of A and what will be the value of B here? Can somebody tell me? Right. Let us execute. Can you tell me what will be the value of this one? What will be value of this one? This one. A plus plus, as we know, in postfix unary increment operator, what is going to happen? The value will be used first, then it will be incremented. What was the value of A? It was 10. So how do I write like 10 less than 20? Is this true or false? This is definitely true. Remember, after this particular expression is over, the value of A will be 11. Remember, 10 has used. When it is coming to this particular A plus plus, again 11 will be used. 11 less than how much? 40. Now this is again true. Now if there will be a statement, it will be executed. That means again after getting out of this one, value of A will be 12 because we have used postfix operation. In case you could not able to understand this point, I will definitely suggest all of you, please go back to the video data operator 1 and see how these operators are basically operated, right? Okay, now what happens is there, since the first one is true, the second one is getting evaluated, and at the end of this one, value of A becomes what? 12, and value of B becomes 20 as it is. Since both these are evaluated, value of A has been changed, right? Let us see some more example. Let us see some more examples. Suppose I am writing here, instead of this, let me write here greater than. Now let us see what will be the value of A and what will be the value of B. Now here, same, value of A is 10, so I can write 10 greater than B means how much? 20, right? Remember, after A plus plus is used, value of A will be incremented by 1. So value of A is now 11. Now the condition, this particular condition is true or false? This particular condition is true or false? 10 greater than 20. Definitely this will give me a false value, right? Since this is giving me a false value, the second part of the logical AND operand would not be evaluated. That means the value of A will be now how much? 11. But in the previous case, the value was evaluated to 12, because if it is less than, first one will be true, second one will be evaluated. If the first one will be false, second one will not be evaluated. You can happily get a proof from this point. If you want to cross check, we can also do that. Let us cross check. Let us cross check the same with your Java compiler. Give me a second. Let me go for test.java. Okay, fine. I'm writing int a is equal to 10. I'm writing b equals to 20. Similarly, c equals to 30. Now, if I'm writing if a plus plus less than b and again a plus plus less than c, then I say, let's say system.out.print hello. If the condition will be true, if everything will be true, hello will be printed. After I'm coming out of this if, what I'm doing, I'm writing system.out.print. Let us print the value of a is equal to plus a. Similarly, plus b equals to, then put a plus sign, then b, right? Okay, done. Now, let us cross check what is going to happen. Before going into that, let us examine. Value of a is 10 and b is 20. Can you please tell me what will be the value of this one? A plus plus. Here a will be used first. What is the value of a? 10. 10 will be used first. 10 less than equals to b. Once 10 is used, now the value of a will be 11. Right? Now 10 less than b. B means how much? 20. 10 less than 20. The condition is true. Now since this is true, the second part of the AND operator will be, logical AND operator will be evaluated, right? How it is evaluated? Again, it is written a plus plus. What is the value of a? 11. So I am writing 11 less than 30, right? Once I have done with 11, immediately a value will be increased by 1 because it's a postfix operation. Now the value of a will be 12. So now hello will be printed because both of them are true. This one is true and this one is true. True, logical and true. If both the operands are true, it will give me a true value, right? Since the entire one will give me a true value, this particular statement will be printed. Done. Once this if is completed, what we can say, the value of a will be printed as 12. Value of b remains at 20 because we have not operated anything in 12. Is that clear? I hope you all are clear about this, right? This is what we are expecting. This is what we are discussing. This is what we are discussing since couple of minutes. But let us rely on our compiler, on our Java compiler, test.java. Let us compile that one. Let's see my compiler, what my compiler says. Compiler says no problem at all, compiles fine. Then execute that one. Let's see what is the value of, sorry, I think the name of the class is different. The name of the class is test, that is in capital letter. That's why it is not we are not getting the proper output. Now what it says, hello is getting printed. After hello is getting printed, what is the value of a? The value is exactly 12 that we had discussed, and value of b we have not changed, that will be 20, right? So one thing is clear, if the first one will be true, second one definitely is to be evaluated. Now let us cross check with a different set of values. Suppose I am writing this one. Definitely you will say, sir, the first one, immediately you will say this is false. But previously what was the value of a? It was 10. So how should I go with? I should go with if 10 greater than b. Once a value of a is used, as per the rule of postfix, a will be incremented by 1. The value of a will be 11. Now 10 greater than 20, whether this is true or false? 10 greater than 20, true or false? You will say, sir, this is completely false. Since this is false, the second part will be evaluated or not? 100% sure this is not going to be evaluated. Remember, the value of a will remain 11. But in the previous case, when we are discussing, the value of a was 12 because the second operand is also getting executed. Clear? Now, if I'll run this program, immediately a will say I am 11, b will say I am 20. And this particular part will not be executed because false. If the first one is false, the entire statement will be false, right? Logical AND will only produce true if both the values are true. In all other cases, it will going to produce false, right? Let us cross check. Let us cross check with the Java compiler. Let us see what it says. Sorry, I think I have not saved this program. Now I have saved this program. Now let's see what it says. It says A11 B20. Can you look at the previous answer? Hello was printed, A was 12 and B was 20. Here hello is not printed because the condition is false. A value will be 11 and B value will be 20. That means the discussion is quite helpful. Like this one will be evaluated mandatorily, but the second one is optional. If the first one will be false, second one will not be evaluated. In all other cases, second one will be evaluated. That is valid for this logical AND. Remember this point. This is the reason why this logical AND is also called as short circuit operator. Short circuit operator, because it saves your time. Once it find a value, once it find the first value is false, it won't go for second one. Does it saves your time or not? 100% pakka it saves your time. That's why the operator is called as short circuit operator. I hope you could able to understand all these points. All these points, right? Remember about the last point, the fourth point very carefully. Operand 2 is not evaluated if the first operand is false. In all other cases, they are evaluated, right? Similarly, when we are discussing for logical OR operator, in logical OR operator, everything here is same. Everything here is same. Let us copy the entire one so that I don't have to write the same thing for one more time. Let me zoom also. Great. Let me copy that one. Instead of this AND operator, we are putting OR operator. Both the operands should be Boolean. That is absolutely fine. The output of OR operator is always true, is always a Boolean, either true or false. If both the operands, if one of the operand is true, then it will return true, otherwise false. If one of the operand is true, then your logical OR will return true, otherwise false. That doesn't mean if both the operands are true, OR will produce true. If both the operands, one of the operand is true, it is also produce true. It is only produce false in one case. If both the operands are false, then 100% pakka it will give me a false value, right? That means if you want to add that point, you can also add that point. Instead of writing such a long statement, you can write it will produce false if both the operands are false, and in all other cases it produces true. Right? Okay. So you can ignore this one also, because that you might put you are asking for trouble. I don't want to write this point, right? So it will produce false if both the operands are false, and in all other cases it produces true, right? Now similarly, like you can cross check here for OR. If the first operand is true, second operand is true, that's fine. If the first operand is true, second operand is false, again this is true. If the first operand is false, second one is true, again this is true. If the first one is false, second one is false, this will be false. Now let us cross check. When the first operand is false, do I have to go for the checking of second operand or not? 100% pakka I have to check, because there might be chance this operand could be a true value, and if it is a true value, I can get it true. So doesn't matter what will be the second operand is. If the first operand is false, 100% pakka the second operand will definitely evaluated. Only case when the second operand will not be evaluated if I found the first one to be true. Can you recall, if the first one will be true, doesn't matter what will be the second operand, either it could be false or true. The resultant value will be always true. That means in case of OR operator, operand 2 will not be evaluated if the first operand is true. Remember the difference between these two. Remember the difference between this. In AND, if the first operand is false, second one will not be evaluated. But here, if operand 2 is not evaluated if the first operand is true. That is the only difference between these two. And OR always produces false if both are false. In all other cases, it will produce true value. But logical AND will produce true if both are true. In all other cases, that will definitely give you a false value, right? And these two operators can be called as, this one also called as short circuit operator. Right? Now, let us move to logical AND operator. See, this logical AND operator is a unary logical operator. So, if I am writing if not A greater than B, if I am writing this, immediately my compiler will give me left and right, because this is one invalid symbol. Remember, I have already told you all these logical operators operates on Boolean only, not in a other type. If I am writing not A greater than B, not A, what is the data type of A? If the data type of A is Boolean, then it's fine. Other than Boolean, 100% pakka, it will be an error. So what is the right way to operate this one? Whenever you are operating with a logical AND operator, make sure you have enclosed the relation or the condition within bracket. Now you know the output of any relational operator is a Boolean operator. Now happily it will say I am fine. How this one behaves? This one basically alters the true value into false and vice versa. Got my point? True value into false or vice versa, right? So it has the capacity to change true to false and false to true. So these are all about logical operators. Both of them are called as short circuit operator, and one of them is called as unary logical operator. But all these operators only operates on Boolean data type. Either they could be a Boolean literal or they could be a Boolean variable. I hope you all could get the clarity, right? Okay, next, the next important topic in this series are assignment operators. Assignment operators. What are those? What are those? You know, assignment operators means the symbol is always a single equals to. By mistake, if you are writing double equals to, you know what is the cinema, right? In case by mistake, instead of writing A is equal to 5, by mistake, if I am writing A is equal to 5, there is a difference, isn't it? In the first case, 5 will be assigned to A. In the second case, it will produce either true or false, right? This is the story behind single equals to and double equals to. Make sure you know all these concepts, right? Now, Java gives us different ways to use this assignment operator. We can use the assignment operator in different ways. Suppose I am writing A is equal to 5. You know, this is the simplest way of using assignment operator, to assign the value or the literal into a variable. Or whenever I am writing A is equal to B plus C, what is happening first? After getting operated, after the left hand side operation is completed, the value will be assigned to A. That means, remember always, in an expression, this particular operator always have a least precedence. Assignment operator always have a least precedence in the expression. It will be operated at the end of the expression. Remember that point, right? This is not the only way I can use. Let us see how many different ways I can use assignment operator. Suppose I am writing integer A, comma B, comma C. Three variables I took. Now I am writing A is equal to, B is equal to, C is equal to 30. Now what is going to happen? What is going to happen? Value of A, value of B, value of C, all are 30 now. Clear? But remember this point, if I am writing integer A, equals to B equals to C equals to D equals to 30 at the time of declaration, 100% sure I am going to get an error message. So this cannot be done directly. Before this, all these variables need to be declared. Otherwise, 100% pakka you will going to get an error message. Make sure you understand this point. Some people call this one as chaining of assignment operator. This is the right way to use chaining of assignment operators, right? Now, this is the second way how I can use the assignment operator. Let us come to the third way. Third way are shorthand assignment operator, or we are calling those as compound assignment operators. What are those? I am writing a plus equals to 10. A plus equals to 10. This is exactly same, not exactly same. This is something like a is equal to a plus 10. Remember this point. If you can recall, at some point of time we are using a plus plus, right? And what we say, a plus plus is somehow equals to like this. It will increment the value of a by 1 after the value is used, since it is postfix, right? But in both the cases, one thing is very common. One thing is very common. What is that thing? What is that thing? The thing is, these two operators, when operates on operand, not only increment the value, but also typecast automatically, typecast implicitly. What that does mean? Let us understand what that does mean. Can you recall, if I am writing byte b is equal to 1, if I am writing b plus plus, and if I am writing b is equal to b plus 1, and the same time if I am writing b plus equals to 1, let us see the difference. B plus plus, this is absolutely fine. We have discussed this particular one thoroughly in some video, right? If I am writing b is equal to b plus 1, immediately my compiler will raise an error, because what we can do, we cannot store an integer constant into a byte variable. So it will say possibly lossy conversion from int to byte, right? And if I am writing b plus equal to 1, 100% sure this is again evaluated fine. So in both the cases, not only they are incremented, but also they are typecasted. Implicitly typecasting has been done to the source type, right? You don't have to bother about that, right? So if at some point of time, if an interviewer will ask me, can you please explain, I have a byte variable, and the value of that byte variable is 1. Now can you please explain what will happen if I am writing this? Can you please tell me the difference between all this? Now you are in a position you can answer this question. This is a very, very vital question for your interview room. The first one will definitely a compiler error. Second one is valid. Third one is valid. The common point about both of these are they are not only incremented, they are also typecasted, right? Okay. Now if I rewrite the statement will be like a is equal to byte followed by b plus 1. This particular plus plus means exactly this one. Similarly, if I want to write this, that will be exactly called as b is equal to typecasted to byte followed by a plus 1. No problem at all. Got it? So this is the extra thing that plus plus operator and compound assignment operator does. Remember this point. Make sure you understand this point, right? That is the only difference. Similarly, we have a lot of assignment operators like minus equals to, like multiplication equals to, like division equals to. Like that, we have a lot of compound assignment operators. If I am writing a multiplication equals to 20, what this one will basically does, a equals to a into 20. Remember, it is also typecasting. If it requires typecasting, it is definitely done with typecasting, right? Okay. Now, the next important thing. Suppose there is an expression, I am writing a is equal to 9. Listen very carefully. B is equal to 7. Now, I am writing a plus equals to b plus equals to 10. Now, the question is, what will be the value of a? What will be the value of b? First of all, whether this is a valid expression or not. This is perfectly valid expression. Remember, all the compound assignment operator, I repeat, all the compound assignment operator always operated from, right to left, this way. So which one will be operated first? This one will be operated first, then the next one will be operated, right? If I am rewriting this one, A plus equals to B plus equals to 10 means what is the value of B? B is 7. So it will be 7 plus 10. That will be 17. Now again, A is equal to how much? What is the value of A? Value of A is 9. Now what will be the value of B now? B is 17. So A is equal to 9 plus 17. The value is now 26. So B will be 17, A will be 26. Remember this point while evaluating this compound assignment operator. Make sure you know all these points, right? I hope you all are clear. Now I am leaving a task up to you because this particular thing we have already discussed very thoroughly. Suppose I am writing byte B is equal to 126 or 127. Can you please tell me if I am writing B plus equals to 3? Now you need to answer yourself what will be the value of B and why. If you could not able to answer by yourself, make sure you have gone through the video of data type for data type 1 where we have completely explained the difference, the operation of B plus plus, and this particular explanation is exactly same. So if you could not able to understand, please follow that video so that you can able to understand, right? Okay, thank you. The next one in the series, because the next one is the series is conditional operator. Conditional operator, or we can call this one as conditional assignment operator. Assignment operator, or we can call this one as ternary operator. Anything we can call this one as, right? Java has only one ternary operator, that we are going to discuss, right? The operator says the first one needs to be enclosed within a parenthesis, what is called as a condition, then the true value followed by the false value, right? What it will do, suppose I am writing D equals to this. So this is called as conditional assignment operator. What that does mean? Value of D will be either this one or this one, depending upon the condition. If the condition will give me a true value, this particular value will be assigned. If it will give me a false value, this particular condition will be assigned. That's why this is called as conditional assignment operator. Why it is called as ternary operator? Can you just cross check? Ternary operator means how many operands I require? Operand number 1, operand number 2, and operand number 3. So 3 operands I do require, right? 3 operands I do require. That's why we can call this one as ternary operator. Remember, this is a assignment operator only. So let us go for an example. Suppose I am writing int B is equal to, listen very carefully. Suppose prior to this I have written A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20. So now what I want to store the minimum value among both the numbers into C. Got my requirement? I want to store the minimum value among both these variables in C. So how I can write? I can write A less than B. If A less than B is true, which one is the smallest one? The smallest one is always first one, right? Okay. Otherwise, the second one. This is how we'll go. So what will be the value? The value will be like A less than B, 10 less than 20. True or false? 100% pakka this will be true. If this will be true, which part will be executed? The part followed by question mark. Now this value will be assigned to C, right? If this could be false, then the other value could be assigned. So one of these values will be assigned to C. That's why this is called as conditional assignment operator. Assignment is purely conditional based on this. To represent this condition, I can happily use logical AND, logical OR, all the operators that can be used there. Remember, the output of this one should be Boolean. It should not be anything else. I cannot write only A. This will be a wrong one to use. Remember that point. Now, the next point here, there might be time when I require, I might go for nested ternary operator also. How that can be possible? I can write A less than B, comma A. I am writing colon again. Here I can also put one more parenthesis. After one more parenthesis, I can go for, if I can write A greater than C, question mark. Then suppose a number 80, otherwise a number 999. Let's say put double bracket and sorry, put one bracket, double bracket. I don't think this required. Sorry. Now what we can do is, this is the conditional part, this is the true part, and this is the false part, right? Now put a semicolon here. Now let us see, if this condition will be true, this one will be assigned, no problem at all. This particular value will be assigned. But in case this is false, now this one will be evaluated. If this one will be true, this particular value will be assigned. If the first one is false and the second one is also false, now the next part will be evaluated. So in this scenario or in this fashion, we can happily use the ternary operator as nested ternary operator. So one thing you can conclude, ternary operator can also be nested. If you want, you can also nest all these operators, right? So that is all about your ternary operator. Remember, ternary operator is also called as conditional assignment operator. By mistake, if you are writing something like this, let us cross check that one in the compiler itself. We'll answer that question there itself. We'll raise that case here itself. Suppose, let me erase all those things, delete all those. Right now, if I am writing C, let's say C equals to, I am writing here A greater than B. If A greater than B is true, then A will be assigned, otherwise B will be assigned. No problem at all, 100% pakka. I am definitely going to get the value of C, 100%, no problem at all. I don't want to print A and don't want to print B. I want to print C only. That's it. Let us cross check. Let us compile this program. I hope I have saved that program. Otherwise, I'll get the old value. No, C is 20, right? Why C is 20? Let us cross check. The value A greater than B, 10 greater than B is false, right? That's why B is assigned to C. What is the value of B? Value of B is 20. So 20 is assigned to C. That's why what I get the value of C is 20. Clear? Okay. Now the next one. In case by mistake, if I am writing here C is equal to A followed by C is equal to B, let's see what is going to happen. What my compiler will say about this. Let me save my program. Let us compile my program. Let's see what my compiler says. Immediately my compiler says unexpected type. So what we cannot do, we cannot use assignment operators here in both the cases. In question mark followed by colon. Make sure you are not using any kind of statement like this. Is a wrong way to use this ternary operator. This is one of the things you should be aware of. Otherwise, 100% pakka you will get an error for that. Right? So this is all about your ternary operator. Fine. Next, there is a small operator called as new operator. Remember, we'll talk about this new operator once we are going inside OOPS concept. Only thing you got to know about new is this operator is used to create an object. Right? Or the second point you can say, it will allocate memory dynamically in memory. Dynamically, it will allocate the memory dynamically. When new operator, like whenever you are using string s equals to new string, immediately what is going to happen, I'll let you know. Suppose in between I am writing Srikant. Let's see what is going to happen in memory. When this particular statement is encountered, new operator is encountered, immediately this particular statement will create one object in memory. A memory space will be reserved. and the value of that object will be Srikanth. Remember, this is an object and this will be a reference variable. Now, S is a reference variable which is referencing to the object. Now, the role of new is to not only create an object but also reserve that much of space inside memory. Make sure you understand this point up to this class. Whenever we'll go through OOPS concept, we'll learn more about that, right? The next operator is this. This is called as array operator. This is used to declare and create arrays. Just you understand this point. Whenever we'll discussing arrays, whenever we'll discussing OOPS concept, we'll definitely discuss about all these two operators, and we'll make sure we'll postmortem the entire thing of this two, right? So these are few operators we have discussed today. We have started with logical operator, logical and or followed by logical and. We have seen different types of assignment operator followed by compound assignment operator. We have discussed the different roles of compound assignment operator, how they are incrementing the value, not only incrementing the value but also converting the values to its source data type, or implicit typecasting is also performed. We have discussed about conditional assignment operator or ternary operator, then new operator followed by your array operator. One last operator is there which is a bitwise operator, and this bitwise operator we'll discuss in the next video. So till that time, take care of yourself and thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much.